decision-making slow down because the DIPP has taken a point of view, the FIPB has sat on it, or the FIPB has come back with its objections? You know, in this era where Mr. Modi is talking about re-engineering the government, is there a case now, the FIPB was moved from the Commerce Ministry to the DA, is there a case to perhaps bring the FIPB and the DIPP back together?
I really won't like to comment on that, but except saying that the government has to work together. All of us have to work together with one single-minded pursuit, and that's the pursuit of growth. And it's about driving India's growth, and irrespective of, you know, all decisions in government are essentially interministerial in nature. Any decision that you take, whether it's in DA, whether it's in DIPP, whether it's in commerce, we all have to consult each other. And it's important that bureaucrats and politicians must work together as a team to drive India's growth. I mean, no decision, irrespective of where it is housed, can be a decision unilaterally taken by one individual.
But there is a case for downsizing?
Definitely there's a case for downsizing. What's the doubt?
So do you believe that it would make sense to have the DIPP and the FIPB housed together?
Well, I believe that more than just DIPP and FIPB, we need to look at downsizing the entire government, having fewer ministries, having fewer ministers, and integrating a number of sectors together. I think there's definitely a case for that.
Where do you see the integration as being most possible, and where do you think that it would make most sense?
I mean, why should you have, for instance, why should you have a ministry? You know, I mean, when I was in the state, we had one single ministry for industries. You didn't have heavy industries, you didn't have MSME, you didn't have Bureau of Public Enterprise. All this needs to be clubbed together.
You see it happening in the first 100 days?
Should happen. Should happen.
Should happen in the first 100 days?
It's for the Prime Minister to take a call on this, but I think we need to integrate far more in this country.
You know, brand India has taken a significant hit. You're the man behind the Incredible India campaign. You're the man behind God's Own Country. What do you think the government should do to reposition India, to rebrand India today?
Well, I think the key is that we must get our act right, push very hard decision making, get back onto the growth rate. If you are back onto the 9 to 10% growth rate, your brand entity will rise. You know, you can't have a great branding exercise with a bad product.
Sure.
So how good is your branding across the world is a function of how well you do domestically. And I think the important thing is to put all these things together. You get decision making together, you get inflation under control, you get health and education right, you get growth right, and your brand is on top of the world. I mean, rest is all easy play. So, I mean, the key thing is not to take a branding exercise, but to really take decisions now. Push the big ticket. You know, the important thing for the government is really to kickstart growth. And to my mind, it's important that government kickstarts some of the major projects. Once that happens, confidence...
So public spending on public infrastructure.
Absolutely. You know, the investment on capital projects has died out. So you need to kickstart that. That will give confidence to the private sector. It will raise their morale. They'll come back into the investment. And then you will see this whole growth open up FDI simultaneously. So several of these things together need to be done.
Okay, so on the basis of the conversation that we've just had, I'm drawing up my list of what it seems like you would like the government to focus on. You can change the order if you think I've got it wrong. Land acquisition right up there. At least changes to the Land Acquisition Act to give states more power to change these complex rules. You believe?
Well, there are no rules right now. I mean, it's just an act.
It's just an act to actually bring in easier rules, and it should be done at the state government's level.
Well, you want an immediate solution. I mean, there's been a deficit in governance at the center right now, simply because you've created very complex acts. These acts have been created by people who had no understanding of grassroots reality, and therefore in the immediate if you want immediate growth, you need to, how do you change the act given the existing political scenario? So you need to just empower the states quickly.
Okay, so that's one. Second, liberalization. FDI, open it up across sectors.
Not merely FDI. I think the important thing is to liberalize the ease of doing business. The key is, if you get the states to get the ease of doing business right, you will get domestic investments right.
So you said the centre can act as a facilitator, but what can the centre do to ensure that state governments deliver, that they actually take a cue out of Maharashtra's ease of doing business and, you know, how they've been able to actually bring their acts together as far as labour is concerned? What can the centre do?
So create a sense of competition, bring in rewards for the states, bring in rewards for the state officials. If Indian states just follow the best practice of Indian states, India's position will come down by 89 ranks. 89 ranks in the ease of doing business across the world. Just follow Gujarat in land, follow Maharashtra in labor, follow Karnataka on giving licenses. We've put that all together. We've written to the states. Now we need to really work in close collaboration with the states. 89 ranks India will rise up.
Well, Amitabh Kant, you're painting a picture that we would like to see translate into reality. Yeah. We hope that this government does take those tough, bold decisions. Do you feel confident that perhaps at the end of this year, we may have improved our ranking on the ease of doing business? We've slipped now to what, 134 if I remember correctly?
Well, I don't think you should look at a 1 year, you know, it's a continuous process.
No, I agree, but I'm saying at the end of the year, on the back of the fact that you believe in the next 100 days we are going to see bold decisions as far as some of these sectors that you've articulated.
Absolutely. What's the doubt?
So where do you think we'll be? How many places higher?
We're going to rise up sharply. I'm a great optimist. We're going to rise up sharply. India is going to get back into big growth figures. India is going to get back into 9 to 10% growth. Many of these issues are solvable. They must be solved. They must be you're saying we have the answers even under the UPA. It was the lack of political will and the lack of political courage or capital, and which is why we couldn't take some of this forward. So none of this is new stuff in that sense. No, I don't want to get into...
No, I'm just saying that these are answers that we've already had.
So I'm a civil servant. To my mind, interministerial decision making must be quicker, faster. Individual officials must be made responsible for delivery, and it will happen. It will happen. India must get back into 9 to 10%. That's the only, you know, if you want to convert your demographic dividend, avail it. That's the only way. Otherwise, you're into a demographic nightmare.
Well, we hope we are far away from that demographic nightmare, Amitabh Kant, and we hope that all of the suggestions that you've put forward are taken forward by the next government, and we hope that each ministry starts talking to each other and we actually cut down this business of interministerial consultation which runs into months and months with no decisions being taken. But thank you very much for joining us on CNBC TV 18 and drawing up an agenda for growth. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
On that note, it's time for us to say goodbye. We'll see you again. Till then, from all of us here, many thanks for watching.